Hey guys, Sugar Shane here. Today we're going to do a lighting upgrade on my Trailblazer SS. We're going to upgrade from regular standard halogen low beam headlights and parking lights. We're going to upgrade to aux beam LED bulbs. So at the same time, I'm also going to be replacing the whole entire housing. These ones are kind of old looking, and it kind of lets the front end of the vehicle down a little bit. So we're going to do one of my favorite kind of upgrades, which you're going to kill two birds with one stone here. Not only is it going to be a looks upgrade, the LED bulb color looks a hell of a lot better than the silly halogen yellowish kind of tinge, but we're also going to be upgrading from a safety standpoint because it's going to be easier to see at night, and so that's a no-brainer. It's low cost, it's going to look better, and it's going to perform better. So nothing better than that. So we're going to jump right into what tools you're going to need, actually doing the work and doing the install, and then a little bit of a road test afterwards to show a before and after. So let's just get started and let's get right into it. Okay, so here's a look at the tools that you're going to need to complete this job. I just need an assortment of flat blade screwdrivers to remove the grill and undo any electrical connections from the bulbs and the headlight housings themselves. Also some dielectric grease that we're going to apply to the connections when we reinstall everything. A little rag there to kind of clean everything up. And the bulbs, of course. And then I have some CAN bus adapters. And now those are for when you swap from like a halogen bulb to an LED bulb. There's a significantly less amount of current being drawn from the LED bulbs. And what can happen is, if a vehicle like the Trailblazer, if you have a CAN bus system that will alert you if you have a bulb out, it will trigger that because of the difference in current draw. So what these adapters do is they simulate if you have like a halogen bulb, and then you won't have any dummy lights come on telling you, hey, you have a bulb out, when in fact you don't. Okay, so we're going to start by removing the grill. So on the very top row, there's a clip here, 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 and here. So we're just going to take our long handle screwdriver and we're just going to pop those out one at a time. Now that we have the top row out, there's a few more. There's one in the center here. There's two under the headlight on both sides. And I believe there's another one here, kind of where this other slot is. So we're going to go ahead and pop those out. So now we're going to take off the little tab or anchors that hold in the actual headlight assemblies. There's one here, and then there's one in the far corner. Same on the passenger side. Okay, so I already undid these anchors, but here's a close-up of what they look like. And there's another one down in the corner. Okay, so now that we have the housing anchor tabs out, we're going to go ahead and pull the assemblies off and disconnect any of the connectors. Okay, so now we have one of each light on the bench. The new one is on the left and the old one is on the right. So we're going to basically move over anything we need to move from the old light to the new light, and then we're going to put the new LED bulbs in. So we moved the bottommost bulb over from the old one to the new one, and now I'm going to pull the dust covers off for the other bulbs. And I'm going to move my high beam over from the old one because that one was fine for me. I'm not going to upgrade to LED for the high bulb at this time, just the low one. So we're going to move the high beam bulb over to the new housing. Okay, so here's our high beam bulb on the new one. Now, you can see, I don't know if you can read that text there, but these are like some really crappy generic bulbs that I really don't want to use. So we're going to go ahead and basically trash this one. Okay, so before we go and throw this high beam into the new housing, I'm just going to, inside of the connection there, I'm going to put some dielectric grease. Now, I like to do this with any kind of electrical connector when I'm working on stuff, just because when you put the dielectric grease in there, it makes sure that you get a nice connection, keeps any moisture out, and it's also going to keep any dirt and crap from going in there. Okay, so as you can see, I put a light little application of dielectric grease in there. I just kind of used one of my smaller flat blade screwdrivers to do that. So now we're just going to go ahead and reconnect the connector there and install that bulb in this housing. Okay, and the last bulb that we have to move over is up here in the top right hand corner. That is going to be one of the LEDs that we're going to use on the new housing. But we need this adapter to move over to the new housing so we can put the new bulb in. Okay, so I got this base loosened up for this top corner bulb. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull it out. So as you can see, that's a 194 bulb. This one's just like a regular incandescent bulb. Okay, so I made a little unfortunate discovery here. This aftermarket aux beam bulb, it's too tall to fit. So when I put it in the base and then I went to put it in the housing, the top part of the bulb right here was bumping into the lens. So I wasn't able to use that. Last but not least, this is going to be our low beam that we're going to install. We're going to put the new LED one in here. So I'm going to take this crappy garbage one out and then put that new one in. And that's the last of the bulb swaps. Okay, so here's our bulbs. Now these you can tell compared to one of the other old bulbs. Let me just reach over here. So this is what our old bulb looked like. So you can tell there's definitely a size difference as far as the base. And the main reason for that is because these are pretty fancy. They actually have a functioning fan inside of the base of the bulb to keep them from overheating. So that's definitely a quality thing. In the past, the other brands of LED bulbs that I've used, I have not seen that before. I've seen, like, you know, something with fins to kind of dissipate the heat, but I haven't really used anything with an actual cooling fan in it, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and fit these up, and then I'll show you what it looks like once it's installed in the housing. Okay, so as you can see, we have our new aux beam bulb plugged in. However, I didn't connect anything yet down here because we have to use our CAN bus adapter that we mentioned earlier in the video. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect this, and it's really kind of foolproof because there's really only one way that you can really attach this. Obviously, you can't connect this to this. That's just not going to work. So they did make that a little bit foolproof for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach the ends of this, make sure, you know, we put a little dielectric grease on each connection. And then we're just going to secure this body portion. Now, they made a couple of little slots at the top and the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to fasten that to this with a cable tie. Okay, so we have our wires tucked out of the way. We have the CAN bus adapter secured in position. And this one is pretty much ready to go back on the vehicle. Now, I made sure that I put some dielectric grease in each of the areas where we're going to have our electrical connectors go back on. And yeah, so this one's ready to go back on. So since this one's ready to go back on, we're going to go put this one back on. And then we need to do the same treatment for the other new housing. So we're going to go do that. I'm not going to show you any of the work on the new housing or the reinstallation because it's basically reverse of what we did to take it apart. Alright, so here they are, all installed. All the bulbs are in. I tested everything before I put everything back together. Housings are in, everything's functioning. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the switch on inside the cab to show you what they look like. So as you can see, these are nice and white, very crisp color. The housings make it look a hell of a lot better as well. So the next step, we're going to wait until it gets pitch black out, and we're going to go take this for a road test. So as you can see, these ones are much whiter and much brighter. I might have to do a little adjustment, but overall I'm very pleased with the result.